Hi, this is Nancy Love for the Planet Peace Project, soon to be called, or this channel is soon to be called Politically Incorrect Tough Love, aka Piddle. I'm going to piddle today on dishonorable parents and people who cling to the Ten Commandments in the Christian Bible as if they're real. Excuse me, but when I was 7 years old and reading the Bible for the first time, I actually left Christianity for a while because of that one thing. How can you honor parents who do the sorts of things that parents do to their kids? Some of them are so inept, so incapable of caring for a family. They're drug addicts, they're alcoholics, they are addicted to gambling or something of that nature, or all of the above, and they expect, or you know, they expect kids to be caretaker children. If you are raised by someone who's bipolar even, or has a mental illness of another nature, then you found yourself being the boss of the place at a very young age. I know kids who are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old taking care of business. I knew a guy who grew up to be one of the most enlightened, compassionate, beautiful men. And I said, "How on earth did you get to be you? You know, you must have had the best parenting in the world." And he said, "No, nothing of the sort. His parents were drug addicts who taught him how to roll his first joint and pop a beer when he was in elementary school." He said he was the one who paid the bills. He said he was the one who interfaced with the landlord when they were about to get kicked out into the street. He had to grow up very early because his parents were incompetent and addicted. So you got that, uh, people having to be caretaker children when they're still children. And you've also got the abuse. I have known so many people so profoundly damaged way on into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, who were sexually and sexually abused and beaten by their offspring. I mean, by their parents. Um, I left Christianity when I was 7 years old because my next door neighbors beat their two sons so badly that those kids are always going to school with a whole series of bruises: arms, legs, torso, face. Those children were punching bags, and those people had a horrible relationship, and they took it out on their children. They should not have been parents at all, ever. I've known people who were sexually abused by their parents. Sometimes it's step parents, sometimes it's biological parents. And what worries me is I know of one guy who, with his wife, adopted a little girl, took a lot of really weird photographs of the kid while she was growing up and posted them, bathing suit photos and things like that. And I said, there's something a little off about this. Well, it turns out I found out many, many years later when the young woman was in her 40s and the mother of her own children, that he had instigated a sexual encounter with his adopted daughter when she was 16, while her adoptive mother was in the next room watching television. Yeah. And what did that girl do? She stayed real close to her daddy, and she let him purchase a house for her, and she gave him a bunch of new little girls to play with. Yeah. So um, the sexual abuse of a child perpetuated into the sexual abuse of grandchildren, almost certainly. It goes on and on. I know a young man who, in his 40s, would just flip out if you said certain words, certain idiomatic uses of language, like, "Oh, get over it." Why did he just suddenly go from being calm, maybe laughing and cheerful and normal, to being an absolute crying, shrieking, obliterated person? Well, it's because his stepfather rather, used to sexually assault him. And when he cried in pain, physical and emotional, his stepfather would say that to him. So I learned never to say that to him. He was a dear person, compassionate, helpful, loving, and kind. But he could be triggered with post-traumatic stress disorder just because someone used a common idiom in his language. It goes on, and you probably know of your own stories of people that you know who were abused. Maybe it was an uncle, maybe it was someone else, but if your parents didn't protect you, if your mother didn't protect you from your father or vice versa, then that was a failure on their part. Maybe they were also afraid. I understand that. I understand that domestic violence victims, adults, are afraid of the perpetrator. But in a lot of cases, both parents are perpetrators, and in some cases, more often than you think, siblings are perpetrators. I know people who were sexually assaulted by and molested and beaten by their siblings. So when we get to this honor your parents thing, you must understand honor is earned. There's a difference sociologists make between something that is ascribed and earned. Ascribed is when you're born rich, or you're born blonde, or you're born black, or that is ascribed. But achieved is something that you've earned through your behavior, through decisions you make and behavior you exhibit. Honor among parents is earned, or they ought not to get it. We should not honor parents who are abusive or who are too incapable or too drugged out to care for themselves, much less anyone else. I hope I have piddled very successfully on bad parents today. Ciao for now.